to set.
Camera speed.
Sound production, take one.
Action!
Very rarely, oh my god, bad start AKAPADers. Very rarely do I want to freeball a movie discussion. We're talking about The Bride. 2026, the film has a exclamation point in the title. What's the concept? What's the idea? Why don't I have anything in front of me talking to you guys about this? Because I watched this as soon as it became available. I believe last Friday on HBO Max. Watched it, put it on again. You know, just to kind of catch it from the beginning. I love that exercise of just going through a movie and then, you know, like basically you go back to the beginning and you're reminded about like some of the seeds that are set, so some of the things that are building within character and plot. In this case, we have to kind of go into what happened with social media and The Bride. We were told that and you know that this is becoming a little bit of a theme here. We were told that this movie is woke. We were told that Maggie Gyllenhaal, who is a actress director, that she made a feminist movie, that The Bride was pushing anti-guy, anti-man. It was all for women. Now, sure, I mean, I don't think this is any different than like a black exploitation movie, for example, AKAPAD. I don't think this is any different than a kung fu movie. This is what we can call female exploitation. This it's a cast of girls. The creation of The Bride is not Dr. Frankenstein. It's another character played by Susan Sarandon. But we get something else here. We get Maggie Gyllenhaal getting inspired by a heck of a lot of stuff that's poured into this movie, namely the Joker. There is a lot of Joker in this flick, to where The Bride and Frankenstein, they're somewhat of a Bonnie and Clyde duo, and they inspire. The Bride inspires women to revolt and go on the revolution and shoot guns in the air. And then we get Christian Bale's Frankenstein, where believably, like, you know, like realistically speaking, just I think some of the positioning for this that was lost is that Christian Bale really it makes odd choices. There's movies that we love him in, movies that we're blown away by, but overall, let's just say his tentpole selection, outside of, you know, the Dark Knight, is dismal. He and I'm making a note of this because this guy made such a big deal about getting into Terminator Salvation, that he would only be in this movie if you could read the screenplay and it was suitable to be a play. It was good enough to be a play where there was no special effects required. The words and the narration drove the story, and the characters appeared real. Like these are, I'm paraphrasing, but this is the way he would talk about Terminator Salvation. This is one of the reasons why people were into seeing that movie. It was almost like this curiosity. And then, you know, we get Thor: Love and Thunder, we get Hostiles, we get this, and what is he's in one of the Netflix movies, the Bird's Eye. Geez, don't quote me on that, but he's in a really good Netflix movie. His Netflix movie might be his best movie in the last like 10 years. But with all of that, we get a story where they bring back a woman to be the bride of Frankenstein. And her, in a way, what she's able to do with Frankenstein, the monster, and we see this from early on. This is one of the reasons why I wanted to go back and watch this movie. when Frankenstein is introduced into this movie and we hear his plight, this is no different than any of the Frankenstein plights. I mean, even James Gunn touched on it in Creature Commandos, where he requires lust. The flesh is weak, and it's almost like the moment where Frankenstein's monster becomes real. Not during Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the modern day Prometheus, which this movie oddly attributes its source material to. It does not. This movie is more of a direct uh, splinter off of the Universal monster, Black and White Bride of Frankenstein, 1954 maybe. Don't hold me 56. Don't hold me to it. 46. Oh my god, get my decades mixed up. Along the way, as these two, it's not just a crime spree. I got a lot of natural born killers in this movie, where they're Mickey and Mallory creating chaos and falling more and more in love through the chaos and being thorns in society and just sticklers almost. They're just like sticking, like they wherever they go, it's just stickiness, it's chaos. I'm losing my terminology a little bit. And then we get our Elliot Ness, Jake Wiles, played by Peter Sarsgaard, and we get, I mean, a wonderful addition to the cast. Penelope Cruz, Marina Malroy. She's the female detective that doesn't get enough credit as a female detective. She has a moment at the end. That didn't bother me. I think it was just like within the world. I think a lot of these, and we saw this too a little bit with Strange Darling, where if the world is built and displayed a certain way, it works very much like a wacky science fiction movie. It's something like Logan's Run, Soylent Green, Planet of the Apes, where we have like a singular idea that becomes the sci-fi universe. With all of that stated, aka Powder's Mind, my film buffers, within this world, Penelope Cruz's moment suffices. It is explained, and it feels like a payoff. We get the Bonnie and Clyde ending. If you guys know anything about that movie with the wonderful and Dick Tracy, the Dick Tracy starring Bonnie and Clyde movie, Warren Beatty, where he squeezes the peach. We get something like that moment here, but it's just Frankenstein, where Frankenstein gets clipped, and the bride, who we think, see, here's where I think Maggie becomes a storyteller, where we somewhat expect the girl, the bride, to become the bride, right? To leave her man. Now she's now set free. We know she loves this guy. We know that they're madly in love, but she drags him. She drags him back to the doctor to be brought back. And this is where we get our finale. And the climax of this movie is there. It leans towards a next step. It leans towards a sequel that could be 20 years from now, and that might be the case. But AKA Powders, this movie was marked, labeled, butchered on social media. I don't know why. I think the girl, Jessie Buckley, who plays the bride, Frankenstein, what a character she has on screen. Just to speak of the bride, and the way how like she moves through maybe like some of her former, right? Because she is a person that she doesn't quite remember, but she's becoming a new person. The Frankenstein parable, like, fantastic, right? What makes it so good and classic. And she kind of moves through this like Great Gatsby accent, and it's just like fun to watch her go. I don't think this movie got a fair shake. I have to say it. I think anyone who's a fan of Frankenstein adaptations, as I am, I as a rewatch, I would prefer to watch this over the Guillermo del Toro's Netflix Frankenstein, if we're going to talk about Netflix again. But like I've rewatched Guillermo's Frankenstein, and I rewatched it in the hopes of coming back with a little bit of a different position. There's a lot in that movie that I don't know. It just feels bloated to me. I hate that term, but I'd rather watch and rewatch this movie because I think there's just more. There's more there. It's newer. I like the world. I like the take. I love the look of this movie. Fantastic costume design. I just like the image of her with the blood splattered mouth. I don't know why, and it's just on her face throughout the entire movie. It's just a little bit weird, but kind of cool. I think this is a great world. I think Maggie did not get enough credit. I think, and I'm hoping that this film gets re-explored or goes back to trial, so to speak, later. I'm hoping it does. But it's been a little bit of time since it's been on HBO Max already. It's been a few days, and I'm not seeing a lot of traction on social media. This movie might just we might say a little bit like Strange Darling, and Strange Darling comes up a lot. People always say they like that movie. It might take some time. This movie, like Strange Darling, a little bit ahead of its time. I have to say it. That's my take, film buffers. I know it might not be popular. I love you guys. Rock and roll.
Okay, that's a wrap.